Hello, here's another video. So I wanted to touch on um, parenting styles. So the question is, should we be or should you be friends with your children? Um, I mean, everyone will have different response to this. Now, should you be friends with your children? It's a weird one because we're mentioning friends and then friendship and then parenting. So normally when you're friends with your friends, you wouldn't parent your friends because you're not the parents, your friends. So the relationship is different. But then when you're parenting I don't know, maybe it should be a friendship parenting. I'm not sure. So anyone who's friends with the children and obviously their parents, and the children are older, I wonder what relationship they have with the children now. Now that they've raised the children and they've always been friends with the children since they were children, and now those children are adults and they've moved out. They're in their own homes. I wonder what relationship they have with their parents. You know. So I don't know what. I'm not sure what results at the end of the day being parents with your children the whole lives since they were little. I don't know what the end result that would be. Is it a good result or a bad result? I have no idea. But I think, personally, I think you should be friends with your children. As a parent, you should be friends with your children. You should build a friendly relationship with your children, because I just think, why not? Why can't you be friends with your children? But at the same time, obviously there's a line where, yes, you're friends, but at the same time you got to make sure you're still a parent. You still parent them. But the way to parent them, should it be strict or not? I don't know. I'm still learning myself. So I think it's just about balance. You know, it's just about balancing, because children are humans. So you got to treat them like you would treat someone you truly love, and you do love your children, right? So of course, you should have friendship with them. You should be friends with them, and I think if they feel like you are friends, but also they understand that you are their parents, and when you feel like they've crossed the line or they're behaving in a way that you don't approve of because you think it's not good for them, obviously for you, and you're gonna act. But how you act, how you advise the children, how you try to steer them into the right direction from the wrong direction that you see them going into, I think that matters. I think that's where it matters a lot. So how do you parent? Like, so let's say you see them doing something and you're all behaving in a way that you don't really agree with, and you think it's not good. You don't agree with that because you think it's not good for them, because you think it's not going to benefit them at all. Instead, it's going to bring problems to them, and you don't want that for your children, and you want to do something about it. You want them to change and do the right thing. So how do you do that? I think the way, if you want to, you obviously you want to talk to them about it, but how you talk to them matters a lot. So the tone you use to talk to them, the attitude you use to talk to them, it's all about how you convey a message, not what you're telling them. So you could be telling them something really helpful for them, and they agree with that. They agree that it's actually helpful, and they want to do it. But if you are telling them in a with a tone that they don't like, or the attitude that they don't like, or the way you're saying it just comes across the way that they don't really like or appreciate, they won't listen to it. They will not listen to the message you're telling them. They won't even try to think about the message you're telling them or try to understand it. They'll feel like they'll just react to the tone or to the attitude. So how you tell someone something is very, very, very important. So, and I think that's where mistakes can be made. So if you want, so obviously instead of telling them with, because you say you might be upset with what they're doing and you want to tell them and encourage them to do it right, and you're upset because it's, let's say something that's really bad and you're upset because you're worried about them. So you got to calm down yourself first and then tell them in the nicest way possible, in the humanly way possible. And you need, it's important to show them that you love them and you care about them with a nice tone, a tone that makes them feel loved, warmth, welcomed, cared for, and all of the above. I think with that kind of attitude towards telling not just children but anyone, like friends, close friends that you love and care about, they will take the message you're telling them. They will think about what you're telling them. They'll be more willing to think about what you're telling them and trying to understand it, and they'll be more willing to take actions and do what you think they should do as a parent, instead of using. So it's important that even with a friend that you love and care about, that is your friend, right? So you're not their parents. So but if you love them and care about them and you want to confront them, I know I said confront, but it should be a positive confrontation, not like being ambushed and told them, oh yeah, this, that. And so again, you've got to be careful how you the tone and attitude, how you pass on that message is so important, because a lot of people, and you got to understand your children, you got to understand how they are as a person, if they're emotional, if they're sensitive, if you got to understand their character, and then parent them according to their own character, parent them according to what suits them in terms of their character. So if you're just lecturing your children, that child might not love being lectured at all or like being lectured, and they just get bored of listening, and they just switch off, and you keep going on and on and on, not realizing that they can't hear it anymore. They've switched off. They're not really listening anymore. That is not going to help. They won't even know what you're talking about. It's just not going to help at all. You're just telling them and this and that. You might be saying it in a nice way, in a loving and warm and lovely way, the loveliest way possible, loving way possible, but they take it as being lectured. They're being lectured. They don't like it. So if you know your child doesn't like being lectured, you can still get through to them in a different way, in a way that they like, in a way that that this way they would listen. It could be like, being like, lecturing them. You could do something like, I don't know, let's do something together. Let's go out together. Let's go for this. Do something together with your child that they love doing. If they enjoy doing such and such, you can tell them, let's go do this together. You pay for it and you do it together. Make sure that you're all having fun and it's great, and then you can maybe try and start. You can still talk, but not in a lecturing way. So yeah, I think it's important to understand who your children are, what their characters are, learn how they behave, what their characters are, what they like, what they don't like, how they like to be talked to, and what they don't like to be talked to, their strengths, their weaknesses. Then it's important, then you know how to parent them. you can't parent all children the same way, because every child is different. Everyone is different. They might all be your children, but it doesn't mean they're all the same. They all have their own different characters, their own mental capacity, their own behaviors. So you can't parent every single child the same way. So you got to parent them differently but fairly. It's got to be fair across the board. Every child should be parented fairly, but just different way, because you will want to get through to your children, but in a way that suits the personality, in a way that suits the characters. But you got to make sure that it's fair across all your children, because you don't want to cause confusion and I don't know, and just negative energy around the family. So it's got to be fair. You don't want any child to feel like, wait a minute, why this and why that, you know what I mean? So it's got to that fairness has to be clear, loud and clear. I know the world is not fair out there, but in the home, at least make sure that things are fair, because you're the parents and they look up to you, and they feel like automatically you're my parents, so you're gonna treat me nice, you're gonna treat me fairly. So they have these expectations from the parents that you're gonna do this for me because I'm your child, and they're not bad things. Of course, you should treat your children fairly. And it's not bad that they're expecting this from you. It's good, and you should be delivering those things. So yeah, I think parents should be friends with the children, and being friends with the children allows you to understand who they are. It allows you to know your children really well, because you should know your children and they should know you. You should know each other very well. And because you know each other very well in a nice way, in a friendship way, then you know which lines not to cross. The children will know which lines they should never cross with you as the parents. And you should know which lines you should not cross with them if you want them to listen to you. Because just because they're children doesn't mean you should say, oh, you should listen to me because I'm this and this is what I want. Yes, you can put down rules, but there are always nice ways to do things. I think it's all about understanding each other and still achieve the main goal is still be a parent and still raise your children really nicely, without being too strict, because being too strict doesn't work. I don't think it works, because if you're being too strict with your children, that won't help them listen, will they? But also being overly nice, it's good. It's always good, because you should always be nice. But also the line that they should not cross is from ignoring that so the line that children should not cross with the parents is they should understand that we are friends, yes, but at the same time we are children and parents. You're my parents, and when you put rules down, they're more willing to follow them instead of not, because they see that you're treating them nice. They don't see any reason why they shouldn't listen to any of the rules you have to tell them, because they know that you're a nice person, you're a nice parent, they love you, you love them, so they'll be willing to follow the rules, the house rules that you have in your home. So the last message is, I think you should be friends with your children, get to know your children. Of course, shower them with all your love, as much love as you can, and they should see it. They should feel it. They should feel love from you. They should feel the love from you, and it should feel nice. And then if someone loves you for real, that person will be nice back. They'll love you back. So I'll leave this video here, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for listening. Okay, take care. Bye.